Jennifer stepped off the plane, the familiar yet distant air of her hometown filling her lungs. It was a bittersweet embrace, as memories flooded back her childhood, laughter echoing in the hallways, and the warmth of family gatherings that once felt like an unbreakable bond. But now, that bond felt tenuous, like a fraying string ready to snap. As she walked through the terminal, excitement mingled with anxiety. The homecoming she had longed for now felt like a looming storm. Would they welcome her back with open arms, or would the distance that had crept in during her time away stretch even further? She clutched her bag tighter, her heart racing at the thought of seeing her family again. Jennifer had heard it on the phone, the resentment, the silence. William and Mary, her parents, whose laughter once filled every corner of their home, now barely spoke to each other. And Elizabeth, her sister, had become a ghost of the vibrant woman she once knew. The family, once a symphony, now played a dissonant tune. She felt the weight of their unspoken grievances pressing down on her, threatening to crush her spirit. The drive home felt surreal. Familiar streets blurred past, but the warmth of those memories felt like a distant dream. Each turn brought back echoes of family dinners, spirited debates, and the grounding presence of faith. Yet now, the family home loomed ahead like a fortress, cold and uninviting. What would she find inside? Once inside, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Mary sat on the edge of the couch, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. William was in the kitchen, his back turned, stubbornly focused on washing dishes as if avoiding the reality of their fractured family. Elizabeth was nowhere to be seen. Jennifer's heart sank. Had she really come back to this? "Hi, Mum, Dad," she called softly, her voice barely breaking the silence. Mary turned, her smile strained. "Oh, Jennifer, it's good to see you." William turned his head. Slightly, a nod offered as a greeting. The warmth she had hoped for was absent, replaced by a chill that settled in her bones. "Is Liz here?" Jennifer ventured, her voice trembling slightly. "She's busy," William replied curtly. Jennifer felt the distance between them all like an invisible barrier that had formed over time, thick and impenetrable. She tried to bridge that gap with small gestures, cooking meals and inviting them for coffee, but her efforts were met with coldness. It seemed the family she returned to was not the one she had left behind. As days passed, Jennifer began to see the cracks in her family's facade. William's anger simmered beneath the surface. He poured his frustration into work, isolating himself from the family he was supposed to lead. Mary wore sadness like a heavy cloak, her laughter replaced by bitterness. Elizabeth, on the other hand, was a fortress defensive and guarded, her vulnerability hidden beneath layers of hurt and resentment. At dinner one evening, the silence was deafening. Jennifer tried to ignite a conversation about their past, reminiscing about family vacations and traditions, but the words fell flat. They were like stones tossed into a deep well, disappearing without a ripple. "Remember the camping trips?" she ventured, her heart racing. "We used to. Things are different now," Elizabeth snapped, her voice laced with pain. Jennifer flinched. "I just thought, no, you don't get to just think, Jen. You left us. You don't know what it's like." The words cut deeper than Jennifer expected. The guilt wrapped around her, squeezing tightly. She had chosen to chase her dreams abroad, and in doing so, had left her family behind to navigate their struggles alone. In the quiet of her room that night, Jennifer wrestled with her emotions, guilt, fear, and unresolved trauma from her time away. The weight of her family's pain felt like an anchor dragging her under. How could she help them when she felt so broken herself? Days turned into weeks, and the family tension grew thicker. Jennifer watched helplessly as arguments erupted over trivial matters, each one revealing deeper wounds that had festered in silence. The dining table, once a place of unity, had become a battlefield. Silent dinners replaced laughter, and affection was replaced by cold stares. Mary's sadness turned to bitterness, each complaint a dagger aimed at William, while he retreated further into his shell, a man trapped in his own anger. Elizabeth's defensiveness was a wall, impenetrable and isolating. Jennifer felt like a stranger in her own home, a witness to their struggles but powerless to intervene. One evening, after another tense dinner, Jennifer caught her mother crying in the kitchen. The sight shattered her heart. "Mom?" she whispered, stepping closer. Mary wiped her tears hastily, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm fine, dear," just a bit tired. But Jennifer knew better. The facade crumbled in front of her, revealing the pain beneath. It's okay to not be fine, Mum. We need to talk. Mary shook her head, her voice trembling. No, we don't. Talking won't change anything. That night, as Jennifer lay in bed, she felt an unsettling shift within her. Her faith, once a source of strength, began to waver. Could she really be the one to heal her family when her own heart felt so fractured? The thought consumed her. Could she find a way to break the silence, mend the rifts, and restore the love that once defined them? Or was it too late? The answer eluded her, but deep down, she knew she had to try. She had to find her strength, not just for herself, but for the family that needed her. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she reminded herself to hang in there. They had all faced storms before, perhaps this time they could find a way to weather it together. As she closed her eyes that night, a flicker of hope ignited within her. It was time to confront the past, to embrace the pain, and to seek redemption. With faith as her guide, she prepared to pull through the chaos. The path ahead was uncertain, but she was determined to take the first step. It was a journey toward healing, a journey she hoped would lead them all back home. Jennifer took a deep breath as she faced yet another day in her family home, the walls echoing with her childhood memories. She could almost hear the laughter, the playful banter, but now it felt like a ghost that had long since departed. The air was thick with unspoken words, each one a brick in the wall that separated her from her family. At breakfast, the tension was palpable. Mary poured coffee, her hands trembling slightly as she placed the cup before William. He grunted a response, barely looking up from the newspaper that seemed to absorb all his attention. Elizabeth sat stiffly, her gaze fixed on her plate, as if the food held all the answers. Jennifer tried to break the silence with a light-hearted comment about the weather, but it landed without a sound. "Do you remember that storm we had when we went camping?" she ventured. "We thought the tent was going to blow away." William glanced up, a flicker of something nostalgia or irritation crossing his face. "That was years ago, Jen." His tone was flat, devoid of warmth. "Yeah, but it was fun, right?" She pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. "We made it through together." "Things aren't fun anymore," Elizabeth shot back, her voice sharp. "You don't know what it's like, coming back and expecting everything to be the same." The words stung. Jennifer felt the weight of Elizabeth's resentment like a physical blow. She had left, yes, but her heart had never strayed far from home. "I came back to help," Jennifer replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I want to be here for you. All." Mary's eyes flickered with a mix of sadness and hope. "We need more than just presence, Jennifer. We need healing." The heaviness of those words hung in the air, and Jennifer wondered how to begin. Days turned into a blur of attempts and setbacks. Jennifer sought out Elizabeth, hoping to spark a conversation. They used to share everything, but now every word felt like walking on eggshells. One afternoon, Jennifer found Elizabeth in her room, staring out the window as if the outside world held the answers they all needed. "Liz, can we talk?" Jennifer asked softly, leaning against the doorframe. Elizabeth turned, her expression guarded. "What's there to say?" "I want to understand," Jennifer replied, stepping inside. "I want to know what you're feeling." Elizabeth crossed her arms, the walls she had built rising higher. "You wouldn't understand. You left when we needed you most." "I know," Jennifer admitted. "And I'm sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I see now how my absence affected you." Silence fell between them, thick with unspoken truths. Jennifer felt her heart racing, each moment stretching endlessly. "Do you even realize how lonely it's been?" Elizabeth's voice cracked, vulnerability breaking through her defenses. "I had to step up, to hold everything together. And you weren't there. I can't change the past," Jennifer said, tears brimming in her eyes. "But I'm here now, and I want to help." "We're still sisters." Elizabeth's facade wavered, and for a moment it seemed the distance might close. "I don't know if I can trust you," she whispered. Trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered and difficult to rebuild. Jennifer understood that now. "Let's take it one step at a time," Jennifer suggested, her heart pounding. "I'm willing to do the work. Can you meet me halfway?" Elizabeth's gaze softened, but the weight of now replies, the hurt still lingered. "I'll think about it," she said finally. A small victory for Jennifer, though she knew the road ahead would be long. That evening, Jennifer found Mary in the living room, a rare moment of peace settling over them. She sat beside her mother, sensing the quiet storm within. "Mum, can we talk about you?" she asked gently. Mary looked up, surprise flickering in her eyes. "There's not much to say. I'm just trying to keep things together." "No, you're holding everything in," Jennifer countered, her voice steady. "You don't have to be strong all the time." "I don't know how to be anything else," Mary replied, her voice thick with emotion. Jennifer reached for her mother's hand, squeezing it tightly. "It's okay to feel weak, Mum. We can be strong together." Mary's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and for a moment, the facade cracked. "I've felt so lost, Jennifer. I don't know how to fix this." "We'll find our way," Jennifer reassured her, her heart swelling with purpose. "With faith, we can heal. We just have to take that leap." Over the following weeks, Jennifer took small steps to mend the fractures in their family. She organized a game night, hoping to rekindle the laughter that once filled their home. The evening was filled with awkward silences and forced smiles, but there were flickers of joy, laughter that felt like a long-forgotten melody. After a few rounds, Elizabeth finally cracked a smile, and for a brief moment, the walls between them began to crumble. "Not too shabby, huh?" Jennifer said, nudging her sister playfully. "Yeah, not bad," Elizabeth conceded, the tension easing slightly. Jennifer felt hope flicker within her. They were still a family, even if they were broken, but healing wasn't linear. There were setbacks, arguments that erupted like sudden storms. William's anger flared over trivial matters, and Mary's sadness threatened to pull them all back into darkness. But each time, Jennifer reminded herself of the strength she had found within. One evening, after a particularly heated argument, Jennifer found herself sitting on the stairs, her heart heavy. She closed her eyes, seeking solace in prayer. "Lord, grant me strength. Help my family find the path to healing. We need you now more than ever." A sense of calm washed over her, and she felt the flicker of hope reignite. The next day, Jennifer gathered her family for a heart-to-heart. "We need to talk about what's been happening," she said, her voice steady. "We can't keep pretending everything is fine." William crossed his arms, his jaw set. "What's the point? We've tried." "The point is we can't give up," Jennifer replied, her heart racing. "We owe it to ourselves to try. We need to face our pain together." Mary looked between her husband and daughter, the weight of their silence pressing down on her. "Maybe she's right," she whispered. "We can't keep hiding." As they began to share their feelings, each word became a thread, weaving them together. They confronted their fears, their anger, and their hurt. Jennifer's heart raced as they opened up, each confession a step toward healing. In that moment, Jennifer realized this was the journey she had been destined to take, a journey toward forgiveness and redemption. The road ahead was still uncertain, but they were walking it together. And for the first time in a long while, the flicker of hope felt like a flame, bright and unwavering. The days rolled on, each one a mix of hope and heartbreak. Elizabeth, still cautious, began to join Jennifer for morning coffee. They would sit at the kitchen table, the sun streaming through the window, illuminating the dust motes that danced in the air. It was a simple act, but it felt monumental. Each sip was a small victory, a tentative step toward reconnecting. One morning, as the kettle whistled, Jennifer noticed Elizabeth staring out the window, her brow furrowed. "What's on your mind?" Jennifer asked, pouring the steaming water over the tea bag. "Just thinking about Dad," Elizabeth replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "He's been quiet lately." Jennifer nodded, feeling the weight of that truth settle between them like a heavy blanket. "He's still trying to sort through his own pain. We all are." Elizabeth sighed, her shoulders slumping. "I know, but it feels like he's given up sometimes." "He hasn't," Jennifer reassured her, trying to infuse strength into her words. "He's just lost, like all of us." Silence enveloped them again, but it was different this time. There was an understanding, a shared burden. Days turned into weeks, and the family slowly began to find their rhythm. They had weekly dinners, each one a step toward healing. One evening, Mary prepared her famous shepherd's pie, the smell wrapping around them like a warm hug. They gathered around the table, laughter bubbling up as Elizabeth shared a funny story from school. Jennifer watched her sister, the light in her eyes flickering back to life. It was a sight she had missed so dearly. But even as progress was made, old wounds had a way of resurfacing. One Saturday afternoon, Jennifer found herself in the middle of an argument between William and Elizabeth. "I'm just saying we need to face reality," William shouted, frustration spilling over. "And what reality is that?" Elizabeth shot back, her voice rising. "That you can't see past your own anger?" "Enough," Jennifer interjected, stepping between them. "This isn't helping anyone." William's face flushed with anger. "You think this is easy for me? I'm trying to hold everything together." "Then start by listening to us," Jennifer pleaded, her heart racing. "We're all hurting. Yelling won't fix anything." "Maybe we're just better off ignoring the problem," he snapped, turning away. Jennifer felt the sting of his words. "Ignoring it won't make it go away, William. We need to confront the pain. It's the only way forward." The silence that followed was thick, charged with unspoken fears. Jennifer took a deep breath, determined to break the tension. "Let's talk about what we're really feeling. Not just the anger, but the hurt. We can't do this alone." William looked at her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "Fine. I'm tired of feeling like I'm the only one holding things together." "Then let's share that burden," Jennifer urged. "Let's be honest." Mary entered the room, sensing the heaviness. She placed a gentle hand on William's shoulder. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed. We're all trying to navigate this together." As they sat down, the conversation shifted from accusations to confessions. William spoke about feeling like he had to be the strong one, the protector. His voice trembled as he revealed the fear of failing his family. "I thought I could keep us safe, but I feel like I'm losing control," he admitted, his gaze dropping. Elizabeth shared her own struggles, the loneliness that came with being thrust into a role she never wanted. "I never asked to take on so much responsibility. It's exhausting, and I'm scared," she confessed, her voice thick with emotion. Tears pooled in Mary's eyes as she listened to her children. "You're not alone in this. I've felt lost too. I've been trying to be the glue, but I need you both. We need to lean on each other." In that moment, vulnerability washed over them like a tide. Each confession was a thread, weaving them closer together. Jennifer felt a wave of gratitude for the raw honesty in the room, a necessary step toward healing. "I know it's hard," she said softly, "but we can't carry these burdens alone. Let's lean into our faith. God has a plan for us, even in the midst of all this chaos." William nodded slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing. "What if we prayed together?" The suggestion hung in the air, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. They looked at each other, a flicker of hope igniting in their hearts. "Yeah, let's do it," Elizabeth said, her voice steadier now. As they bowed their heads, Jennifer felt a warmth envelop them, a sense of unity she had longed for. "Lord, we ask for strength and guidance. Help us to heal and to be there for one another. We need you now more than ever." The prayer became a balm, soothing the raw edges of their conflict. They took turns speaking, each voice rising like a hymn in the stillness of their home. When they finished, a silence fell, but it was different, filled with a sense of peace. "Maybe this is what we needed," William said, his voice softer. "Together," Elizabeth added, a smile breaking through her earlier pain. "And with faith," Jennifer concluded, feeling the warmth of their connection. As they embraced, Jennifer realized this was just the beginning. They had taken a step toward healing, but the journey would require patience, love, and resilience. Days later, Jennifer suggested they all take a family outing, something to shake off the heaviness that had settled over them. "How about a hike?" she proposed. "Fresh air and some time together." Mary hesitated. "I'm not sure about the trails. What if it's too much?" "It'll be fine, Mum," Jennifer encouraged, her heart racing with anticipation. "We can take it slow. Just being together in nature might help." After some persuasion, they agreed. The next Saturday dawned bright and clear, the sun shining down like a promise. They packed sandwiches and set off, the car buzzing with nervous excitement. As they hiked, Jennifer felt the tension easing with every step. The lush greenery around them felt alive, vibrant, like hope waiting to be discovered. They shared stories and laughter, each moment a thread stitching them closer. Elizabeth and William teased each other about who could spot the most wildlife, their voices filled with a lightness that had been absent for far too long. When they reached a clearing, they paused to take in the view. The valley stretched out before them, a patchwork of greens and browns, the horizon kissed by the golden Sunday. "This is beautiful," Mary breathed, her eyes shimmering with awe. "Just like us," Jennifer said, her heart swelling with warmth. "We're beautiful, even in our brokenness." They stood together, the wind rustling the leaves, a gentle reminder that healing was a journey. As they made their way back down the trail, Jennifer felt a renewed sense of purpose. They would face challenges, but they would do it together. With faith as their foundation, they would rise above the storms. And even though the path was far from smooth, she knew they would pull through, one step at a time. Jennifer awoke the next morning to the sound of birds chirping outside her window. The sun streamed through the curtains, casting soft shadows across the room. Today was another chance to build on the fragile threads of connection. She hopped out of bed, her heart lighter than it had been in weeks. Downstairs, the kitchen bustled with activity. Mary was humming softly as she prepared breakfast, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the scent of toast. William sat at the table, scrolling through his phone, a frown etched on his face. Elizabeth, still in her pajamas, wandered in, her hair tousled but a hint of a smile creeping onto her lips. "Morning, everyone," Jennifer chimed in, her voice bright with hope. She grabbed a mug, pouring herself a cup of coffee, the warmth spreading through her fingers. "Morning," Mary replied, glancing over her shoulder. "Will, I have breakfast in a few minutes. Just waiting on the eggs. Need any help?" Jennifer offered, stepping closer to the stove. Mary shook her head, her smile genuine but tinged with weariness. "I've got it, sweetheart. Just sit and chat." Jennifer took a seat next to William, who glanced up from his phone. "You're looking chipper," he remarked, his tone teasing but lacking bite. "Just trying to keep the positive vibes going," she replied, nudging him playfully. "I think we're on the right path." Elizabeth joined them, pouring juice into a glass. "I agree. Last week was a good start. We can't let the weight of our past drag us down." "Absolutely," Jennifer said, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "Let's keep building on that momentum. What do you think about a family game night this Friday?" "Game night?" William raised an eyebrow, a flicker of interest breaking through his guarded demeanor. "What kind of games?" "Charades, Scrabble, maybe a bit of Pictionary," Jennifer suggested, her heart racing at the thought of laughter filling the house. "Count me in," Elizabeth said, her eyes sparkling. "I could use a good laugh." "All right, I'll think about it," William replied, a reluctant smile creeping onto his face. Mary placed plates of eggs and toast on the table, the steam rising like a promise of warmth. They gathered around, the atmosphere lightening with shared stories and laughter. Later that afternoon, Jennifer took a walk around the neighborhood, inhaling the crisp air, her spirit buoyed by the morning's conversation. She passed by the local park where children played, their laughter ringing like music. She settled onto a bench, the sun warm on her skin. Her thoughts drifted to the family dynamics. Healing was a process, not a destination. The journey would have its ups and downs, but with each step, they were learning to lean on one another. Jennifer felt a deep sense of gratitude for the resilience they were forging together. That evening, as they sat in the living room, Jennifer suggested they share their favorite memories as a family. The laughter came easily, spilling over like the warm glow of the fireplace. They recalled camping trips, holiday gatherings, and silly moments that had once bound them together. "I remember the time we tried to bake cookies and ended up with a kitchen disaster," Mary chuckled, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "Flour everywhere, and we all looked like ghosts." "Yeah, and we ended up ordering pizza," Elizabeth laughed, her cheeks flushed with joy. "Best decision ever." William leaned back in his chair, a smile creeping onto his lips. "I still say it was the worst batch of cookies ever made," he quipped, his laughter infectious. As the laughter faded, Jennifer felt a warmth envelop the room. "We need more moments like this," she said softly. "Let's make it a tradition." "Agreed," Elizabeth chimed in, her voice earnest. "We need to keep finding joy in each other." As the days rolled into the week, anticipation buzzed in the air. Friday night arrived, and the family gathered in the living room. The coffee table transformed into a game arena. Board games lay scattered, snacks piled high, the atmosphere electric with excitement. "All right, who's ready to lose?" William declared, a playful glint in his eyes. "Not me," Elizabeth shot back, her competitive spirit ignited. They started with charades, laughter echoing as they mimicked animals and famous characters. Jennifer watched her family transform, the tension of the past weeks melting away. Each giggle, every playful nudge brought them closer. William took his turn, his exaggerated gestures drawing laughter from everyone. "I'm not a mime," he exclaimed, panting dramatically as he tried to convey his word. "Come on! We know you're a drama king!" Jennifer teased, her heart swelling with joy. At the sight of her family, united in laughter, as the evening wore on, they shifted to Pictionary. Jennifer picked up the marker, drawing with abandon. The house filled with playful banter, the drawing board becoming a canvas for their shared memories. When the game ended, they were breathless, cheeks sore from laughter. Elizabeth plopped onto the couch, her hair sticking out in wild directions. "That was the best night." "Definitely," Mary agreed, her eyes glistening with happiness. "We need to do this again. Soon." Jennifer felt a wave of contentment wash over her. They had faced their fears, their pain, and emerged with laughter filling the gaps. "Remember, it's a journey," she reminded them, her voice steady. "We're learning to lean on each other. It's not about perfection, it's about progress." William nodded, his demeanor softer now. "You're right. We've come a long way since you got back, Jen. And we'll keep moving forward," Elizabeth added, her smile radiant. "Together." In that moment, surrounded by love and laughter, Jennifer felt an overwhelming sense of hope. The path ahead was still uncertain, but they were walking it together, hand in hand, anchored by their faith and the promise of healing. With every step, they were rediscovering the beauty of family, the strength of unity, and the power of love. The morning sun poured through the kitchen windows, illuminating the remnants of last night's laughter. But as soon as Jennifer entered, she sensed an undercurrent of tension. Mary was at the sink, scrubbing a pot with a fervor that suggested she was trying to wash away more than just grease. William sat at the table, his brow furrowed, scrolling through his phone as if his life depended on it. Elizabeth was absent again, retreating to her room, the door closed tight like a fortress. "Morning," Jennifer ventured, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "Morning," Mary replied barely, looking up. "Hey, Dad," Jennifer said, but William only grunted in response, his eyes still glued to the screen. She felt a familiar pang of disappointment. Hadn't they made progress? The laughter from the night before seemed like a distant echo, swallowed by the weight of reality. After pouring herself a cup of coffee, she took a seat at the table, hoping to bridge the gap. "I was thinking we could have dinner together tonight, just the four of us. Maybe try a new recipe?" Mary's hands paused mid-scrub, and she finally turned to face Jennifer. "I don't know, dear. I've got a lot on my plate." William didn't look up. "Yeah, we'll see," he muttered, still lost in his digital world. Jennifer's heart sank. "Please, it would mean a lot to me." She felt the urge to push, to pull them back into the light. "Jennifer," Mary said, her tone sharp, "it's not that simple." "What do you mean?" Jennifer replied, her voice rising slightly. "We just had a wonderful night together. Can't we build on that?" Mary sighed, frustration simmering just beneath the surface. "It's not about one good night, sweetie. It's about everything that came before it." Jennifer felt her frustration boiling. "I know that, but we can't change the past if we don't try to move forward." William finally set his phone down, his gaze shifting to Jennifer. "You think it's easy for us? You've been gone, Jen. You don't know what it's been like." "I do know," she shot back, her voice shaking. "I may not have been here, but I'm still your daughter. I care. I want this family back." Mary's face tightened, her eyes searching Jennifer's. "Caring isn't enough. We need more than just good intentions." "What do you want me to do?" Jennifer asked, her heart racing. "I'm trying to help. I just want us to be a family again." Silence filled the kitchen, thick and suffocating. Mary turned back to the dishes, her shoulders rigid. William's expression remained unreadable, and in that moment, Jennifer felt the distance between them grow even wider. Frustrated, she stood up, pushing her chair back with a loud scrape. "I'm going for a walk," she announced, needing space to breathe, to think. Outside, the fresh air hit her like a splash of cold water, shocking her system. She walked briskly, her mind racing with thoughts and unanswered questions. Why was it so hard to rekindle the warmth of family? Each step felt heavy, like dragging a weight behind her. She found herself at the park again, the laughter of children echoing in the distance. It reminded her of simpler times, of how their family used to be. She sat on a bench, feeling the sun on her face. This was where she had hoped to build new memories, but now it felt like she was stuck in the past. As she took a deep breath, she felt a sense of resolve. Healing wasn't a straight path. It twisted and turned like the roots of an old tree, sometimes hidden beneath the surface. She had to believe that they could find their way back, even if it took time. With renewed determination, Jennifer returned home. As she stepped through the door, the tension still hung in the air like an uninvited guest. "Hey, I'm back," she called out, forcing a smile despite the heaviness in her heart. "Hey," Mary replied, still at the sink. William remained glued to his phone, and Elizabeth didn't appear. Jennifer's smile faded. "Elizabeth?" she called softly, hoping for a response. "Yeah?" Elizabeth's voice floated from her room, hesitant and distant. "Can you come out for a minute? I'd love to talk." The door creaked open slowly, and Elizabeth peeked out, her expression wary. "What's up?" Jennifer motioned for her to join. "I just wanted to check in. We had a great time last night, and I thought we could build on that." Elizabeth shuffled into the kitchen, her arms crossed defensively. "You think it's that easy?" "No, I don't. But we have to try," Jennifer said, her voice steady. "We can't let the past define us. We can choose to move forward." "I'm not sure if I can," Elizabeth admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Jennifer stepped closer, reaching out. "You don't have to do it alone. We're in this together, remember?" Elizabeth's gaze softened, but the tension still lingered. "I just don't want to get hurt again." "I understand," Jennifer replied, her heart aching for her sister. "But avoiding each other won't heal anything. We have to face our fears together." Mary cleared her throat, breaking the charged moment. "Jennifer, it's not that simple. It's complicated." "I know," Jennifer said, turning to her mother. "But every family has complications. We can't ignore them. We have to talk about what hurts." William finally looked up, his brow furrowed. "Talk about what? Our failures? Our disappointments? We've been trying to do that for ages, and it hasn't worked. What if we try again together?" Jennifer suggested, her heart racing as she faced her family. "What if we lay everything on the table? No more hiding?" Silence reigned as her words hung in the air, each of them locked in their own thoughts. Mary finally spoke, her voice quieter, more vulnerable. "I'm tired, Jennifer. Tired of feeling like we're barely holding on. And I'm tired of feeling like I don't belong," Elizabeth added, her eyes glistening. "None of us want that," Jennifer replied, her voice firm but gentle. "We can change this. We can find our way back to each other." William sighed heavily, the weight of unspoken words pressing down on him. "What if we fail again?" "Then we try again," Jennifer said, her voice unwavering. "That's what families do. We don't give up on each other." As the weight of their shared pain hung in the air, Jennifer felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. They were still here, still standing together, even when it was hard. They could face the darkness, one step at a time. "Let's take that first step tonight," she urged gently. "Let's talk. No more skirting around the issues. Let's face them head on." Mary's shoulders relaxed slightly, and for the first time, William put his phone down, truly present. Elizabeth's posture softened too, as if she was finally willing to step out of the shadows. In that moment, Jennifer felt the weight of their pain shift ever so slightly. It wouldn't be easy, but with faith and perseverance, they could begin to heal, together. The air grew thick with unspoken words, the kind that linger long after the last breath has been exhaled. Jennifer stood at the center of it all, her heart pounding like a drumbeat urging them on. "We need to talk," she repeated gently, her gaze sweeping across her family, searching for a flicker of understanding. Mary's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "What if talking just makes it worse?" she asked, her voice a fragile whisper. Jennifer stepped closer, her hand resting on the table, grounding herself. "Because holding it all in is suffocating us. We can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel angry. But we can't heal without honesty." William shifted in his chair, arms crossed tightly over his chest. "And what if that honesty just tears us apart more? Then at least we'll know where we stand. Jennifer replied, her voice steady. It's better to face the storm than to let it rage on inside us. Elizabeth's eyes darted between her parents and Jennifer. What if we can't fix it? What if it's too broken? Jennifer felt a surge of determination. Nothing is too broken if we're willing to try. We can choose to rebuild, bit by bit. Rebuild? William repeated, skepticism coating his words. It's not like we're building a house, Jen. This is our family. Exactly, Jennifer said, her voice rising with passion. This is our family, and we can't just walk away from it. We have to dig deep, face our fears, and be honest with each other. That's how we find healing. Mary nodded slowly, her resolve faltering. I just don't know if I have the strength for this. Jennifer stepped forward, her eyes locked on her mother's. You do, Mum. We all do. We just need to lean on each other. Remember, faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about taking that first step into the unknown. A silence enveloped the room, heavy yet electric, as the weight of her words hung in the air. Elizabeth bit her lip, her gaze dropping to the floor. I've been so scared, Jen. Scared of losing you all over again. Jennifer's heart twisted. You won't lose me. I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together. The atmosphere shifted slightly, the tension easing just a fraction. Mary wiped her eyes, a small breath escaping her lips. I want to believe that, but the past feels so present. Then let's talk about the past, Jennifer urged, her voice softening. Let's lay it all out. The hurt, the anger, the misunderstandings. We can't move forward if we're stuck in the shadows. William finally shifted in his chair, leaning forward, his expression softening. Fine, but where do we start? Let's start with the truth, Jennifer said firmly. The truth about how we've felt, how everything has impacted us. Mary glanced at her husband, then back at Jennifer. What if we don't agree on what the truth is? Then we listen, Jennifer replied. We listen without judgment. We try to understand each other. It's not about being right, it's about being honest and vulnerable. Elizabeth uncrossed her arms, a flicker of curiosity sparking in her eyes. I guess I'm tired of pretending everything is okay when it's not. Jennifer nodded, her heart racing with hope. That's it. That's the first step. Let's just be real. The conversation began slowly, each word like a hesitant step forward. Mary shared her frustrations about feeling unheard, the weight of responsibilities pressing down on her. William opened up about his struggles, the feeling of isolation that had seeped into his life. Elizabeth talked about the fear of losing the connections that once felt so solid. As they spoke, the air began to clear. Each shared story felt like a thread weaving them back together, slowly but surely. Jennifer felt a warmth spreading through her chest, a sense of unity beginning to bloom amidst the chaos. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear you all, Mary said, her voice breaking slightly. I thought keeping quiet would protect us, but it only built a wall. And I thought I could fix everything on my own, William added, a hint of regret coloring his tone. But I see now that I can't do it alone. Jennifer stepped closer, her heart swelling with pride for them all. We don't have to fix it all at once, we just need to take it one step at a time. Elizabeth nodded, her expression shifting from guarded to open. And maybe we can find new ways to connect. Mary wiped her eyes, a small smile breaking through the sadness. Like family dinners? I used to love those. Jennifer grinned. Exactly. Let's cook together, laugh together, and yes, even cry together. We can find joy in the little things. William's lips curled slightly. I could get on board with that. It sounds nice. As the conversation continued, each shared moment felt like a brick being laid down, building a bridge over the chasm that had formed between them. Laughter began to sprinkle in, a soft melody rising above their earlier tensions. Hope flickered like a candle in the dark, a fragile yet vibrant light illuminating the path ahead. Jennifer felt a warmth envelop her, wrapping around her heart like a comforting blanket. They were still in the storm, but they were no longer alone. Together, they could weather anything. This is just the beginning, she said softly, the weight of her words filled with promise. Together, they echoed, a chorus of voices united in a newfound strength. As they shared stories, laughter, and moments of vulnerability, the family started to mend. They learned that healing wasn't about erasing the past, it was about embracing it, learning from it, and moving forward with love and faith guiding their way. In that moment, the family felt whole again. The fraying string of their bond tightened, each thread woven with understanding, forgiveness, and hope. They were embarking on a new journey together, with faith lighting the way. The warmth in the room felt like a balm, soothing the raw edges of their hearts. Jennifer looked around, taking in the faces of her family, each etched with a mixture of hope and hesitance. It was a fragile moment, one that could shatter or bloom, and she couldn't help but feel the weight of their collective yearning for connection. "Let's make a plan," she suggested, her voice steady yet soft. "Let's commit to family dinners every week. No distractions, just us." Mary nodded, her fingers entwining nervously. "I'd like that. Cooking together again. I've missed that." Me too," Elizabeth chimed in, her eyes brightening. "We could try new recipes, something fun." William raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smile ghosting his lips. "As long as you're not putting pineapple on pizza." Laughter erupted, breaking through the tension like sunlight piercing clouds. It felt good. Real. For the first time in ages, they were sharing joy rather than pain. "All right, no pineapple." "On pizza," Jennifer agreed, chuckling. "But we can do a taco night. Everyone loves tacos." "Count me in," William said, leaning back, the weight on his shoulders appearing just a bit lighter. As they continued to talk, the conversation shifted to deeper waters. They navigated through their fears and frustrations, but also their dreams and aspirations. Mary opened up about her desire to take painting classes, something she had shelved in the chaos of family life. "I used to love painting," she admitted, a hint of nostalgia lacing her words. "It was my escape." "Then do it, Mum," Jennifer urged, her heart swelling with pride. "You deserve that. We all do." Elizabeth hesitated, her brows furrowing. "What about me? I don't know what I want anymore." "Start small," Jennifer encouraged. "What about volunteering at the community center? You love helping others." "I suppose I could," Elizabeth replied, her voice wavering but laced with curiosity. William cleared his throat, his expression earnest. "And I need to get back to the gym. It's been years since I felt fit." Jennifer smiled, feeling the energy shift. "That's a great idea, Dad. We could all support each other, maybe even have workout sessions together." Mary's eyes sparkled. "I might need a little help with that." Suddenly, the mood shifted again, a shadow creeping back into the light. Elizabeth looked down, her expression darkening. "But what if it's not enough? What if we can't fix everything?" A hush fell over the room. The weight of unspoken fears loomed large again. Jennifer felt her heart skip. "We're not trying to fix everything at once. It's about progress, not perfection, and it's okay to be scared." "Sometimes it's easier to stay broken," William admitted, his voice heavy with honesty. "I've been so afraid of failing again." "No one is asking for perfection," Jennifer replied gently, her eyes meeting his. "We're asking for honesty, for vulnerability. We need to lean on faith, remember?" Mary wiped away a tear, her voice trembling. "Faith is hard sometimes, Jen. It feels like a leap into the unknown." "Exactly," Jennifer responded, her heart racing. "But think about it, God doesn't promise us an easy journey. He promises to be with us through it all." Elizabeth nodded slowly, her eyes glistening. "I guess I've just been waiting for things to magically get better." Jennifer took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. "It's not magic, Liz. It's effort. It's showing up for each other even when it's tough. If we want this family to heal, we have to put in the work." William leaned forward again, a spark igniting in his eyes. "You're right. I've been so focused on what's broken that I forgot to see what's still here." "And what's still here is love," Mary added, her voice steadying. "We can weather the storm together." Jennifer felt hope unfurl within her, like a flower pushing through concrete. "Yes, together, we can do this. We need to remember the good times, hold on to them as we move forward." As they spoke, the walls around their hearts began to crumble, one word at a time. Each story shared, each laugh exchanged, was a brick taken from the wall that had separated them. They weren't simply addressing the past, they were building a new foundation for their future. But just as they began to feel the warmth of connection, the doorbell rang, slicing through the moment like a knife. Jennifer's heart dropped. Who could that be? Mary exchanged a worried glance with William. "Should we answer?" Before anyone could respond, Elizabeth stood up, her expression a mix of dread and curiosity. "I'll get it." As she opened the door, Jennifer felt an unsettling knot in her stomach. The presence of the unknown loomed ominously. "Elizabeth," a voice echoed from the doorway, slicing through the room like a cold wind. Jennifer's heart sank as she recognized the figure, a man from Elizabeth's past, someone whose return could unravel the fragile threads they had just begun to weave together. The air grew heavy with tension as Elizabeth's smile faltered, replaced by an expression of shock and uncertainty. "Jake," she whispered, the name hanging in the air like a ghost. Jennifer's gut twisted. This was the last thing they needed. The family had just begun to mend, and now an old wound threatened to reopen. Why now? Jennifer thought, a storm brewing inside her. Haven't we been through enough? But as they stood there, caught between the past and the potential of a renewed future, Jennifer knew they had to confront this new challenge together. It was a test of their resolve, a chance to prove that healing was not merely about mending wounds but about facing whatever came their way, hand in hand. "Stay strong," she whispered to herself, just as she had always taught Elizabeth. "We will pull through." And with that thought, she braced herself for what lay ahead, knowing that their journey was far from over. The door creaked open wider, revealing Jake, his presence a stark reminder of a chapter Elizabeth had tried to close. The moment hung in the air, heavy with unspoken words. Jennifer's heart raced as Elizabeth's expression shifted from shock to uncertainty, each flicker of emotion a stab to the heart. "Jake," Elizabeth finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Hey, Liz," he replied, his tone casual, but the tension in the air was palpable. "I was in town and thought I'd stop by." Time seemed to warp, stretching the seconds into an eternity. Jennifer could feel the weight of Elizabeth's past pressing down on them all, a shadow they had just begun to escape. She glanced at her parents, their faces a mixture of concern and confusion, unsure how to react. This isn't a good time," Elizabeth said, her voice faltering. The warmth they had just cultivated felt fragile, like a delicate glass sculpture. Jake took a step inside, uninvited, his eyes scanning the room. "I just wanted to see how you've been. It's been a while." A silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Jennifer's instincts kicked in. She stepped forward, placing herself between Elizabeth and Jake. "You should leave," she stated firmly, her voice steady. Jake's gaze shifted to Jennifer, surprise flickering across his face. "And you are?" "Her sister," Jennifer replied, her tone unwavering. "And I think it's best if you respect our family time." "Come on, Jen," Elizabeth said, her voice shaky. "It's okay. I'll handle this." "No," Jennifer insisted, her heart racing. "You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to face him at all." Elizabeth looked torn, caught between the past that haunted her and the present that offered a glimmer of hope. "I need to talk to him. It's complicated." "Complicated?" Jennifer echoed, her frustration bubbling to the surface. "He's the one who hurt you, Liz. You don't owe him anything." "Maybe I do," Elizabeth countered, her voice rising. "Maybe I need closure." The tension crackled like static in the air. Jennifer felt the urge to protect her sister, to shield her from the pain that Jake represented. But she also understood that healing often required confronting the past, even when it felt overwhelming. "Fine," Jennifer relented, her grip on Elizabeth's shoulder tightening. "But I'm not leaving your side." With a resigned nod, Elizabeth stepped forward, a mix of determination and fear etched on her face. "What do you want, Jake?" He took a breath, his expression softening. "I wanted to apologize. For everything. I messed up, Liz. I know that now." A flicker of vulnerability crossed Elizabeth's face, but she quickly masked it with a steely resolve. "You hurt me. You left without a word. You can't just waltz back into my life and expect forgiveness." "I know," Jake replied, his voice low. "I've spent a lot of time thinking about my mistakes. I'm here to own up to them." Jennifer felt the tension shift slightly, but she remained on guard, ready to intervene if needed. "What makes you think this time is different?" she challenged. "I've changed," he insisted, a hint of desperation in his voice. "I've been working on myself. I'm not the same person I was." Elizabeth's eyes searched his, wrestling with a torrent of emotions. "And what does that mean for us?" "It means I want to talk," Jake said earnestly. "I want to make things right. I want to be honest." "Honesty?" Elizabeth scoffed, her frustration palpable. "You think that's enough? You think you can just fix this with words?" "Maybe not fix it," he replied, his voice steady. "But I want a chance to explain, to show you I'm serious about changing." In that moment, Jennifer saw the flicker of hope in Elizabeth's eyes, mingling with doubt. She had witnessed this dance before, the struggle between wanting to believe in redemption and the fear of being hurt again. "Liz," Jennifer said softly, her heart aching for her sister. "You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You're not obligated to give him a chance." Elizabeth hesitated, glancing back at Jennifer, a silent question in her eyes. "I know," she finally said, her voice steadying. "But I need to hear him out. For me." "All right," Jennifer conceded, her heart heavy. "But I'll be right here." Jake nodded, the tension easing slightly as Elizabeth took a deep breath, stepping into the unknown. "Okay, let's talk." As they moved to the living room, Jennifer positioned herself close, feeling the weight of the moment. The room pulsed with unspoken words, each heartbeat echoing the uncertainty that had settled over them. "Do you remember when we used to spend hours talking about our dreams?" Jake began, his voice tinged with nostalgia. Elizabeth's expression softened, a flicker of the sister she once was surfacing. "Yeah, I do. I've thought about those conversations a lot," Jake continued, vulnerability spilling from his lips. "I've missed the person I was with you." Jennifer watched as Elizabeth's walls began to crack, but she remained vigilant, ready to catch her sister if she stumbled. "What do you want now?" Elizabeth pressed, her voice firmer, the resolve returning. "I want to start fresh," Jake said, his eyes earnest. "I want to show you I can be better. I can be someone you can trust." The room felt charged with the weight of possibility, but Jennifer could sense the fragility of the moment, the delicate balance between hope and heartbreak. "Trust is earned," Elizabeth replied, her voice steady but guarded. "You can't just expect me to give you that without proof." "I understand," Jake said, his tone sincere. "I'm willing to prove it. I just need a chance." Jennifer's heart raced, torn between wanting to protect Elizabeth and recognizing the importance of this moment for her sister's growth. Healing, she reminded herself, often required navigating the storm. "Let's take it slow," Elizabeth suggested, her voice softening. "I can't promise anything, but I'm willing to listen." "Thank you," Jake said, relief washing over his features. "That's all I'm asking for." The tension in the room began to ease, and Jennifer felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. They were on the precipice of something transformative, a chance for Elizabeth to reclaim her voice and for Jake to confront the past he had nearly buried. As they delved into their conversation, Jennifer felt a sense of purpose surge within her. This was more than just about Elizabeth's past. It was about forging connections, about leaning into the discomfort of vulnerability. "Stay strong," she whispered to herself again, reaffirming her commitment to her sister. Together they would navigate this difficult path, guided by love, faith, and the promise of redemption. A new chapter lay before them, one where healing was not just a distant wish but a tangible reality. And as they faced the past together, Jennifer knew they would emerge stronger, united by the bonds of family and faith. The conversation unfolded like a delicate flower, petal by petal, revealing layers of emotion and vulnerability. Elizabeth's voice wavered but held a fierce determination. "You say you've changed, Jake, but actions speak louder than words. What can you show me that's different this time?" Jake leaned forward, the weight of his sincerity pressing heavily in the air. "I'm not asking for blind trust. I'm ready to work for it. I've been going to therapy, facing myself and my mistakes. I want to be a better man, not just for you but for myself." Jennifer watched as Elizabeth's gaze softened, yet she remained cautious. "Therapy? That's a step. But it's just the beginning. You need to understand the impact of your actions. You left, Jake. You broke my heart." "I know," he replied, pain flickering in his eyes, "and I've regretted it every day since. I was scared of what we could have been, scared of commitment. But I'm ready now. I see that I need to take responsibility. I want to help you heal." Elizabeth's breath hitched, a mix of hope and skepticism swirling within her. "You think it's that easy?" she challenged, her voice rising slightly. "You think you can just walk back into my life and fix everything with a few apologies?" "No," Jake admitted, the weight of his past visible in his furrowed brow. It won't be easy. I'm not expecting instant forgiveness. I just want a chance to show you I'm serious. I want to be part of your life again, even if it means starting from scratch." The room was thick with tension, yet a flicker of understanding passed between them. Jennifer felt her heart pound in her chest, sensing a shift, an opening. "What if you take it one day at a time?" she suggested gently. "You could start by showing up, being consistent. Let Liz see you're serious about your promises." Elizabeth nodded slowly, her eyes searching Jake's. "Consistency, that's what I need. I need to see you in all the small moments, the daily ones. That's where trust is built." "Absolutely," Jake replied earnestly, his tone steady. "I want to be there. I want to support you in whatever way you need, even if it means just being a friend at first." Jennifer felt a surge of hope. This was the dialogue they needed, the honesty that could pave the way for healing. "And if it doesn't work out?" she probed, her protective instincts flaring. "What if you fall back into old patterns?" "Then I'll walk away," Jake said, the resolve in his voice firm. "I don't want to hurt you again. I've learned that love isn't just about being together, it's about respecting each other's boundaries and needs." Elizabeth's expression softened further, the flicker of a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "That's a start. I just don't want to get hurt again." "And you won't," Jake promised, his eyes locking onto hers. "Not if I can help it." Jennifer felt the warmth of their exchange, the potential for something beautiful emerging from the ashes of pain. "You're taking the first step, Liz," she said quietly, her voice imbued with encouragement. "You're brave for even considering this." "I want to be brave," Elizabeth whispered, her voice cracking with emotion. "I want to believe there's a path forward, but it's going to take time." "Time is what we have," Jake replied, his tone soothing. "I'll wait however long it takes. I just want to be part of your life again, even if it's in small ways at first." As they continued to talk, Jennifer felt a shift in the air around them, a lightness that hadn't been present before. Elizabeth's laughter echoed through the room, a sound she had longed to hear. It was tentative, but it was there a sign of hope, of healing. The days progressed, and with each passing moment, Jennifer observed the changes taking root in her sister's heart. Elizabeth began to let go of the heaviness, allowing herself to embrace the possibility of joy once more. They spent evenings together, reminiscing and rebuilding their sisterly bond, laughter spilling over like sunlight through the clouds. Jake kept his word. He showed up with flowers, sent texts to check in, and slowly began to integrate himself back into Elizabeth's world. The small gestures, coffee dates, casual walks became the threads that wove them closer together. Jennifer watched as her sister's spirit began to flourish, the light in her eyes returning. One evening, the three of them sat around the table, sharing a meal Jennifer had prepared. The aroma of rosemary and garlic filled the air, mingling with laughter and conversation. Elizabeth caught Jake's eye, and for a moment time stood still. "Thanks for being here," she said softly, her voice warm with gratitude. "I didn't think I could feel this way again." Jake smiled, his heart swelling with hope. "Thank you for giving me a chance." Jennifer felt a swell of pride for both of them. They were taking back their lives, one moment at a time, carving out a future that felt possible. In that kitchen, the clatter of plates and the hum of conversation became a symphony of healing, a reminder that love, when nurtured with care and faith, could endure even the deepest wounds. As they cleared the table, Jennifer caught a glimpse of Elizabeth and Jake, exchanging a look filled with understanding. It was in that moment she realized they were not just mending a past, they were creating a new narrative, one where forgiveness blossomed and hope thrived. "Stay strong, Liz," Jennifer whispered to herself, her heart swelling with pride. They were on the brink of victory, a triumph over the shadows that had loomed for far too long. Together, as a family, they would rise, united by love, faith, and the promise of new beginnings. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow through the kitchen window as Jennifer, Elizabeth, and Jake gathered around the table once more. Their laughter echoed off the walls, a symphony of newfound connection. Jennifer marveled at the transformation taking place. Elizabeth, once weighed down by pain, now radiated a lightness that filled the room with hope. "Can you believe it's been a month since we started this journey?" Jennifer mused, stirring a pot of hearty stew. "It feels like a lifetime ago that we were drowning in silence." Elizabeth looked at Jake, her eyes shimmering. "I never thought I could feel this way again. It's like I'm waking up from a long sleep." Jake nodded, his expression earnest. "Healing takes time, but it's worth every moment. Each day feels like a step forward." Jennifer felt a swell of gratitude. They were no longer tiptoeing around the past. They were confronting it head-on, embracing the challenge of rebuilding their lives. "You both are so brave," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Facing the past is never easy, but you're doing it together." The conversation turned to faith. Elizabeth shared how she had resumed her morning prayers, finding solace in the quiet moments with God. "I always felt His presence but lost my way for a while," she confessed. "Now I feel His guidance again." Jake leaned in. "I've been seeking my own path too. It's humbling to realize how much I need to grow, to learn. There's strength in vulnerability." Jennifer felt her heart lift. Their spiritual growth was as vital as their emotional healing. "That's what faith is about," she said, her voice steady. "It's about leaning on each other and trusting God's plan for us." As they feasted on the meal Jennifer had prepared, she noticed the way Elizabeth's laughter was no longer fragile. It was robust, echoing with a resilience that spoke volumes. Jake, too, seemed more at ease, his nervous energy replaced by a sense of belonging. "Let's not forget to celebrate the small victories," Jennifer suggested, wiping her hands on a towel. "What's one thing you're grateful for this week?" "I'm grateful for the clarity I've found," Elizabeth answered without hesitation. "I've learned to speak my truth, to set boundaries. It's liberating." Jake smiled, his gaze softening. "I'm grateful for this family, for the chance to be here, to make things right. You both have shown me what love looks like." Jennifer felt a wave of warmth wash over her. "We're stronger together, aren't we? Every moment we spend rebuilding our foundation is a moment well spent." As the evening wore on, they shared stories of their past, weaving in laughter and a few tears. Each memory was a thread connecting them, creating a tapestry rich with love and forgiveness. Later, as they cleared the table, Jennifer caught Elizabeth's eye. There was a new spark there, a determination that hadn't been present before. "You're not just surviving, Liz," she said softly. "You're thriving." "I'm learning how to love myself," Elizabeth replied, her voice steady. "It's a journey, but I'm committed." Jennifer felt a swell of pride for her sister. Elizabeth had taken the leap into self-discovery, unearthing the strength that had always been there. "And that's where true healing begins," she affirmed. "When we love ourselves, we can love others better." Jake chimed in. "I'm starting to understand that love isn't just emotion, it's action. It's showing up when it matters most, even when it's tough." The three of them exchanged nods, a silent agreement that they were on the right path. They had faced the darkness and emerged into the light. Days turned into weeks, and with each sunrise, their bond deepened. Elizabeth found herself reaching out to friends, reconnecting with those she had pushed away. She began volunteering at the local community center, pouring her heart into helping others. The joy she felt in giving back was palpable, igniting a fire within her. One evening, as they sat together after dinner, Elizabeth shared her experience. "Helping others has been so fulfilling. I didn't realize how much I needed this connection, this purpose." Jennifer encouraged her. "That's the beauty of community. It reminds us we're never alone in our struggles. We're all on this journey together." Jake smiled, his admiration evident. "You're inspiring, Liz. Your willingness to help others shows how far you've come." Elizabeth's cheeks flushed at the compliment. "Thank you. I'm just trying to live out the values we've talked about: love, faith, and resilience." As Jennifer watched her sister blossom, she couldn't help but reflect on her own journey. The process of healing wasn't just about Elizabeth and Jake, it was about her too. They were all learning to embrace their imperfections, to find strength in vulnerability. One night, Jennifer found herself lost in thought, reflecting on the family she had once known. The echoes of laughter and warmth were returning, but this time, they felt different. They were layered with deeper understanding, a sense of purpose that had been absent before. "Let's make a pact," Jennifer proposed. During their next family meeting, her heart racing with excitement. "Let's commit to checking in on each other, to being honest about our struggles and victories. We can't let the silence creep back in." Elizabeth nodded, enthusiasm lighting her eyes. "I love that idea. We can set a regular family dinner or even a weekly check-in," Jake added, and we can support each other's goals. I want to keep working on myself, and I know you both do too." Jennifer felt a rush of warmth. They were forging a new path, built on a foundation of faith and love. "Together, we can weather any storm," she said, her voice resolute. "We'll lift each other up no matter what." As they sealed their pact with laughter and promises, Jennifer knew they were on the brink of something beautiful. Healing was not a destination but a journey, and they were walking it together step by step, hand in hand. With faith as their guide, they were reclaiming their story, rewriting it with love, hope, and resilience. The shadows of the past were fading, replaced by a bright future that awaited them, filled with all the possibilities of redemption and growth. They were a family once more, united by the bonds of love and the promise of new beginnings. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting golden rays through the kitchen window as Jennifer stirred a pot of stew. The aroma filled the air, mingling with the laughter of Elizabeth and Jake just outside. They were playing a game of catch in the backyard, a simple act that felt monumental. It was a testament to the healing that had taken root in their hearts. But there was an undercurrent of unease in Jennifer's mind. Elizabeth had been thriving, but was it enough? The thought nagged at her. She wanted to protect her sister, to shield her from the pain that had haunted their family for so long. The past lingered like a shadow, waiting for the right moment to creep back in. "Hey Jen, come join us!" The voice rang through the open door, bright and inviting. Jennifer hesitated, stirring the pot absent-mindedly. "In a minute," she called back, her heart racing with uncertainty. What if their newfound happiness was just a facade? What if the past was waiting around the corner, ready to pounce? After a moment, she set the spoon down and stepped outside. The laughter enveloped her, a warm embrace. Jake tossed the ball high into the air, and Elizabeth leaped, catching it with a triumphant cheer. The sight filled Jennifer with warmth, yet a twinge of worry tugged at her heart. "Nice catch, Liz," Jennifer clapped, forcing a smile. "Thanks. You should have seen my last one. It was epic." Elizabeth laughed, her eyes sparkling. But beneath the laughter, Jennifer sensed something brewing. Later that evening, as they gathered around the table, the tension simmered just below the surface. They shared stories, but the air felt thick, charged with unspoken words. As they cleared the dishes, Jennifer decided it was time for honesty. "Can we talk about something serious?" A hush fell over the table. Elizabeth's eyes widened, and Jake shifted in his seat. "Of course," Elizabeth said, her voice steady. Jennifer took a deep breath. "I'm proud of how far we've all come. But I can't shake the feeling that there's something we're not addressing. The past still lingers, doesn't it?" Elizabeth exchanged a glance with Jake, her brow furrowing. "What do you mean?" Jennifer leaned in. "I think we're all still battling our demons. Just because we're moving forward doesn't mean they're gone. We need to confront them." The room fell silent, the weight of her words settling like a heavy fog. Jake finally spoke, his voice low. "I've been feeling it too. It's like we're dancing around the truth." Elizabeth looked between them, her expression earnest. "I've been trying to focus on the positive, but I know we need to face what happened. We all do." Jennifer nodded, gratitude washing over her. "It's time to let the light in, to expose the shadows. We can't heal if we keep hiding from the truth." That night, they sat together in the living room, each lost in their thoughts. Elizabeth broke the silence. "I want to talk about what happened with me and Jake. It's been hard for both of us." Jennifer's heart raced. They had danced around the topic before. "What do you want to say?" Jake shifted uneasily. "It's complicated. We've both made mistakes, and I don't want to hurt Liz anymore." "Honesty is the first step," Jennifer urged, her voice steady. "It's the only way to move forward." Elizabeth exhaled, her courage shining through. "I've been struggling with feelings of inadequacy. Losing myself in the relationship made it easier to ignore the pain." Jake nodded, his face solemn. "I didn't realize how much I was pushing you away. I thought I was protecting you, but I was just hiding from my own issues." Jennifer felt a pang of empathy for both of them. It's a tough journey, but acknowledging it is powerful. "You're both showing so much strength." As the words sank in, Elizabeth wiped away a tear. "I want to learn to love myself, but I'm scared of what that means for us." "Self-love doesn't mean losing each other," Jake said softly. "It means being honest about our needs. It's about being whole together." Jennifer watched as they navigated the conversation with care. It was a dance of vulnerability, a step toward healing. You both deserve happiness, but it starts with being true to yourselves. Elizabeth looked at Jennifer, her eyes hopeful. Will you help us? I don't want to lose this connection. Absolutely, Jennifer replied, her heart swelling with love. We'll figure it out together. We're family. As the night wore on, they talked late into the evening, peeling back layers of hurt and fear. With each confession, they released the weight of their pasts, allowing room for growth. In the days that followed, they continued to check in with one another, sharing their struggles and victories. Elizabeth embraced new activities at the community center, returning home with stories of the lives she touched. One afternoon, as Jennifer watched her sister share laughter with a group of children, she felt a flicker of hope. It was a sign of Elizabeth's blossoming spirit, igniting something deep within her. Yet, just as they began to feel the warmth of healing, an unexpected visitor arrived, their mother, Mary. Her presence, once a source of comfort, now felt heavy with unresolved tension. "Hello, everyone," Mary greeted, her tone strained. Jennifer felt a tightness in her chest. "Mum, it's good to see you." Mary's gaze shifted to Elizabeth, and the air crackled with unspoken words. "I've been thinking about our conversations. I know I've been distant." Elizabeth's heart raced, but she stood tall. "I want to talk about it." Mary's eyes softened, vulnerability creeping in. "I've been struggling too. I didn't know how to help you, so I withdrew. I thought it was for the best." Jennifer exchanged glances with Elizabeth, and together they took a step toward their mother. "We need to talk about our past, Mum. We can't move forward without addressing it together." Mary nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I know I've hurt you both. I'm sorry. It's time to heal." As they embraced, the weight of unspoken grievances began to lift. The path ahead was still uncertain, but the seeds of healing were taking root. Together, they could weather the storms, reclaiming their family's narrative one conversation at a time. Through faith, love, and resilience, they began to rewrite their story, one filled with hope, forgiveness, and the promise of brighter days ahead. The days turned into weeks, and the air in the house shifted. Laughter replaced silence, and unspoken grievances transformed into open discussions. Jennifer, Elizabeth, and Mary found themselves sitting around the dining table more often, the meals becoming a ritual of togetherness rather than a chore. They shared stories of their days, their struggles, and the small victories that often went unnoticed. Yet, one evening as they gathered for dinner, Jennifer sensed a storm brewing beneath the surface. The light-hearted chatter faded, and the flicker of fear settled in her stomach. She glanced at Elizabeth, who was pushing her peas around her plate, her brow furrowed. Mary, too, seemed distant, her eyes cast down, as if the weight of everything was pressing down once again. "Is everything okay?" Jennifer asked gently, her voice breaking the uneasy silence. Elizabeth looked up, her expression a mix of determination and vulnerability. "I've been thinking about what we talked about being honest, and I need to say something." Mary's gaze snapped to Elizabeth, a flicker of concern crossing her features. "What is it, dear?" Jennifer held her breath, the tension palpable as they all leaned in, drawn into the gravity of the moment. "I want to share something about my relationship with Jake," Elizabeth began, her voice steady yet trembling. "I felt lost for so long. I thought if I could just love him enough, everything would be okay. But I lost myself in the process." Mary's eyes widened, the truth of her daughter's words hitting like a wave. "Oh, Elizabeth, I need to find my own identity again," Elizabeth continued, her voice gaining strength. "I love Jake, but I can't lose myself in him. I need to learn to stand on my own." Jennifer felt a rush of pride for her sister. This was the moment of truth, the opening of a door that had long been shut. "That's incredibly brave, Liz. Acknowledging your needs is the first step to healing." Elizabeth nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. "I'm scared, though. What if I push him away? What if he doesn't understand?" Mary reached out, her hand trembling as she placed it over Elizabeth's. "He loves you, and he'll want what's best for you. You deserve to be whole, sweetheart." Suddenly, the door swung open and Jake stepped inside. His presence felt like a gust of wind, stirring the stillness in the room. "Hey, everyone," he said, a smile fading quickly as he sensed the atmosphere. Is everything all right? Jennifer exchanged a glance with Elizabeth. This was the moment they had been waiting for, a chance to confront the unspoken. Jake, Elizabeth started, her voice firm yet gentle. I've been meaning to talk to you. Sure, what's on your mind? He asked, taking a seat at the table, his brow furrowed with concern. I've realized that I need to find my own path. I've been so focused on us that I lost sight of who I am, Elizabeth confessed, her heart pounding. Jake's expression shifted. I get it. I've been feeling the same way, but I didn't know how to say it. The room hung heavy with anticipation, the air thick with emotion. I thought pushing you away was protecting you, but it was just me running from my own issues, Jake admitted, his voice low. Jennifer watched as they exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. We need to be honest with each other, don't we? Jake continued. We can't pretend anymore. You're right, Elizabeth sighed, relief washing over her. I don't want to lose us, but I can't lose myself either. Mary leaned in, her heart swelling with love for her daughters. You both deserve the chance to grow individually. It's part of building a strong relationship. The conversation flowed like a river, each confession washing away the sediment of resentment. They talked late into the night, the shadows of doubt receding as they faced their fears together. In the following days, Elizabeth began to explore her interests outside of her relationship. She signed up for a painting class, her passion for art reigniting like a flicker of hope. Jennifer watched with pride as her sister transformed, her laughter ringing through the house once more. Yet, as the warmth of healing enveloped them, a familiar chill crept in. One Sunday evening, after church, Mary invited everyone to sit in the living room. The warmth of the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the floor. I've been doing a lot of thinking, Mary began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. I know I've not been the mother you needed. I've let my own fears cloud my judgment. Jennifer felt a pang of sympathy for her mother. Mum, we're all learning together. It's okay. Mary shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. No, it's not okay. I need to say this. I've held on to my pain for too long. I want to be better for you both. Elizabeth squeezed her mother's hand. We can work on this together. We're a team. Mary took a deep breath. I've struggled with feelings of inadequacy since your father and I started drifting apart. I thought I was protecting you, but I was just isolating myself. Jennifer leaned forward. It's never too late to change, Mum. We'll face it together. In that moment, they forged a new bond, one built on honesty, acceptance, and love. The weight of unspoken grievances began to lift, giving way to healing. That night, as they sat in a circle, hands intertwined, they prayed together. Each word felt like a balm for their wounds. They prayed for strength, for forgiveness, and for a future filled with hope. As they shared their dreams and fears aloud, Jennifer felt a shift within her. The past no longer held them captive. Instead, it became a part of their story, a chapter that had shaped them but wouldn't define them. Together, they embraced the challenge of rewriting their family narrative. They had weathered the storm, and now, through faith and love, they stood united. The road ahead was still uncertain, but with courage in their hearts, they stepped into the light, ready to embrace the next chapter of their lives together, stronger than ever. As spring settled into the small town, the air felt crisp with renewal. Jennifer, Elizabeth, and Mary found themselves walking through the local park, laughter punctuating the gentle rustle of leaves. The family was slowly finding its rhythm again, an unspoken understanding weaving them closer. I can't believe I actually signed up for that pottery class, Elizabeth chuckled, her cheeks rosy with excitement. I thought, why not throw some clay around and see what happens? Mary smiled, a genuine warmth radiating from her. You've always had a knack for creativity, sweetheart. I can't wait to see what you make. Jennifer nodded along, her heart swelling with pride. And I can't wait to join you. It'll be nice to do something together. They paused at the edge of the pond, watching the ducks gliding serenely across the water. The scene was peaceful, a stark contrast to the stormy emotions that had once plagued them. Remember the times we used to come here for picnics? Jennifer asked, nostalgia creeping into her voice. We would bring that awful sandwich spread and pretend it was gourmet. We were so silly, Elizabeth laughed, the sound bright and clear. Mum always insisted on making those sandwiches. I think she wanted us to be healthy. Mary rolled her eyes playfully. Guilty as charged, but it was about more than the sandwiches. It was about being together. Jennifer's gaze softened. We can recreate those picnics. Let's start new traditions. As they strolled back home, Jennifer's mind wandered to William. He had been quieter since their heart-to-heart, but she sensed a shift in him too. She hoped he was beginning to heal, just as they were. Later that evening, Jennifer found her father in the living room, engrossed in a book. The light flickered softly, casting shadows across his face. She approached him carefully, her heart pounding. "Dad, can we talk?" He looked up, surprise evident in his eyes. "Of course, love. What's on your mind?" Jennifer took a deep breath, summoning the courage she had found over the past weeks. "I've noticed how hard things have been for you and Mum. I want you to know it's okay to share your feelings. We're here for you." William sighed, a heaviness settling in the room. "I've been trying to figure it all out, Jen. It's not easy to admit when you've failed as a husband and father." "You haven't failed, Dad," she insisted, her voice firm yet gentle. "You've been lost, but that doesn't mean you can't find your way back. We all make mistakes." He looked at her, vulnerability shining through. "I've been so focused on the past that I forgot to embrace the present. I'm proud of how you've all come together." Jennifer smiled, warmth flooding her chest. "We're stronger together. Let's keep working at it." The following Sunday, the family gathered at church. The familiar hymns filled the air, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. As they stood in prayer, Jennifer felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. She could see the light of hope flickering in each of their hearts. After the service, they made their way home, the conversation flowing freely. Mary spoke about her plans to volunteer at the local food bank, her eyes sparkling with purpose. "I want to give back. It feels right to serve others," Elizabeth chimed in, excitement bubbling up. "And I'll help. We can do this together." Jennifer beamed, watching as their bond strengthened. They were no longer shying away from their struggles. Instead, they faced them with determination. That evening, they sat around the dining table again, sharing a meal that felt like a celebration. Mary served her infamous lasagna, the scent filling the room with warmth. Laughter echoed as they reminisced about their favorite family memories. "I'll never forget the time you tried to cook for us, Mum," Jennifer teased, her eyes twinkling. "Those burnt biscuits were legendary." Mary laughed, a lightness in her voice. "I'll take that to my grave. It was a disaster, but at least we had fun." As they shared stories, the past felt less like a burden and more like a foundation. They had weathered storms, but now they stood together, united. In the weeks that followed, Elizabeth's painting flourished, and she found her voice in every brushstroke. Jennifer joined her, capturing moments that told their story in color. Mary's volunteering brought new friendships, expanding their family circle. William, too, began to open up. He started attending support groups, sharing openly about his fears and regrets. One evening, he approached Jennifer with a newfound resolve. "Thank you for pushing me, Jen. I'm beginning to understand what it means to be vulnerable." "Dad, you're not alone anymore," she said, her heart swelling with love. "We're all in this together." One night, as they gathered for family prayer, they each took turns sharing their hopes for the future. Mary spoke of forgiveness, Elizabeth of self-discovery, and Jennifer of love and unity. William's voice trembled as he spoke. "I want to be the father you all deserve. I want to build a bridge instead of a wall." Tears glistened in Mary's eyes. "We're all learning, love, and together, we can do anything." Jennifer felt the weight of their past lifting, replaced by a sense of freedom. They had learned to embrace their imperfections, to speak their truths, and to face their fears. As they closed in prayer, hands intertwined, Jennifer felt the warmth of their connection wrap around her like a comforting blanket. They had come so far, and yet, this was just the beginning. In that moment, she knew they would continue to grow, to heal, and to rewrite their story. The road ahead may hold challenges, but with faith and love guiding them, they would navigate it together, step by step. With a heart full of hope, she whispered a silent prayer, grateful for her family, their journey, and the promise of tomorrow. Together, they would embrace life, stronger than ever, ready to face whatever came next.